Hello and welcome. I hope this recording finds you in good health. My name is Vatsal Vatsyayan and my teammate is Sagun Prasad Koirala, and this is our recording for Review 3 for the subject Mobile Application Development taught by Professor Srinivasan P. So we have created this newsreader app which has the functionality to display popular news, and this is the design of our news. We can click on any particular news to view more about the news, and will be presented with expanded news on that particular topic. There is also a function to share the news via email or by Google Drive, and if we can install any social media app, then we can use those for sharing the news. We can also copy the link. There is also a functionality to swipe and reload the page, and we can search for any particular news which we want to know more about. So we are making use of Retrofit. It is a library in Android which is best used for type safe REST API client. And it needs a model or a POJO class for sending and receiving requests. And an interface is needed for making the API calls. So we'll begin with showing the skeleton of the application. So in our main.xml, we are making use of a coordinated layout which has a nested scroll view in which there's a linear layout which we have placed our text view which reads top headlines, and we also have a recycler view to show all the different types of news available to us. These all are recycler views. Now, since I said that Retrofit needs a Pojo class, so that's why we've gone ahead and created the models package. We are making use of News API, which is found to be working perfectly with Android applications. So the API contents are status, total results, articles, and we've gone forward and implemented that. So we've serialized name status, and we've used at expose, and we've created a private variable of the type string named status. So serialized name is needed because it indicates the annotated member that should be serialized to JSON with the provided name value as its field name. And at expose is used to mark a field to be exposed. JSON uses these annotations. Now, the status, total results, articles are the same as the API, but articles itself is a list. So we have to create another model class for it, which we have done here. And if you remember, even source was a list. So we've gone forward and made source model class in which there is ID, name, and we've gone forward and set the getter and setter tags, which will be used when we are initializing the entries. Now, all we have to do is load the API. So we create a API package. We have created API client and API interface. In the API client, we are initializing retrofit, which makes use of the get API client function, in which it loads the URL and does the HTTP packet transfers and uses the converter factory from JSON library and builds it. This is the OK HTTP client.builder function, in which all it does is confirms the handshake and transfers the certificate for a secure connection. Now, we want this functionality that whenever we click on a news, for let's say this for example, we want to expand it and get to know more about that particular article. So we've gone ahead and created this item.xml in which there is a layout for the news. We are having a card view in which there's a relative layout for the two images, and there's a progress bar which will be showing a buffering sign when the image is loading. The text, different sorts of text views are allocated for title, for description, for source, for time, for date. For date, we've used a frame layout. Now, to make this functionality happen, we created this adapter.java class which makes use of the defined items in item.xml. We are instantiating the article's content and item click listener. So the on bind view holder is used by recycler view to display the data at specified position, that is in the recycler view. On the on create view holder, all we are doing is we are inflating the news. We are using the help of Glide, which is an image loader library in Android. So we also have added a functionality for searching the particular news. That is, we create a main menu resource file named mainmenu.xml, and in that we have search and settings. So for adding functionality to the refresh news, we go forward to the activity main.xml. In that, we are using the help of swipe refresh layout to add that swipe refresh functionality. This one. Now, for any particular details, we have to create a news detail activity.java class. This is a separate activity. All it's doing is instantiating the image view and date, time, title, toolbar, and everything. And here we'll be getting the values which we are passing from main.xml. We are passing the details for URL, image, date, title, etc. And we're using Glide library to make the images dynamic. And in init web view function, we are making functionality with the web view, and we are loading the URL on it. We also have incorporated functionality such as on backpress, on support navigate up to add more functionality. This part is used for sharing the particular news, like this, for example. So on options item selected, we get the ID of the news, and we can make the URL with that ID, and we can send it over to whoever we want to share it with. Now for sharing the news, we have on options item selected as well, which will get all the details. And if suppose we cannot share the news, then we have a toast.make text which says it cannot be shared. Now coming on to our main activity, here we are instantiating all the variables which we need for the app to run, and we are setting it, we are finding the IDs and giving it a variable. So here we are making use of the API calls, and suppose if the return code is found to be something which is not successful, then we have the else statement which can incorporate these error messages. Here in init listener, we are clicking on the particular article and sending all its data towards the other activity with the help of intent. And these are the error handling mechanisms which we have incorporated to our app. So suppose if we wanted to search for something, let's say Joe Biden, he is just won the United States presidential election. So this is found to be a popular search. We can search for Joe Biden and get details wherever he is involved. So this was all about our application which we created for mobile application development. Thank you very much.